I think we've probably chatted so long today that we probably are in danger of running into two-parter. So
Yeah.
we could do that. We could split this into 2 parts and put it out there for people. So I don't know if we'd be really keen to ask you just, like 1 or 2 more questions.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to have one more pour or something like that.
Yeah.
Duncan's doing the family thing in the background.
So I initially offered my wife a dram because she drinks whiskey as well, and she was like, no. And I got up, walked into the kitchen. She went, right, I'm just going downstairs to see our neighbour. And she went, actually, can you pour me a dram? So I just poured her like a large one of the Santis in a Glencairn. And she's just taken it downstairs with her to go.
She's gone downstairs.
Yeah, she's gone downstairs to go and see our neighbour. Yeah, I love that.
That's what whiskey is all about. And for all of, the chatting about technicalities or making this, marketing that, flipping this, money and that, it's just about community and sharing a whiskey and being with friends. And I think it's really easy to lose sight of that. And I think everyone does it, me included. You end up down a rabbit hole of, I want to deeply examine all of this. And it's like, okay, that's great. But don't forget that at the end of the day, it's just a drink, and drinks are better with nice people. So keep doing that,
Yeah.
100%. Now, keep talking, Matt. You're getting well emotional.
Oh.
It's going to make it beautiful.
Matt, you say something again.
He's gone for an SMWS bottle. There you go.
Hang on, let me get Tumbler Club in with my genuine
Tumbler Club
60s.
Your VAT 69 stuff going on.
Hey.
Yeah,
nice, great shout. There you go. And Matt, talk again.
Okay. Yep. Talking.
Thanks so much. There you go. Dump. Yeah, I agree with that. But it is a joy to have another half who actually does really like whiskey a lot. It makes life so much easier.
I can tempt Lara now and again, but it's a battle.
My other half, she likes all my Japanese whiskey, which is super frustrating because I can't afford to buy any new stuff anymore. She doesn't like all the rest
expensive
of it.
tastes.
Yeah, exactly. I swear I could give it to her blind and she'd probably be all right with it. But she likes the Japanese stuff. But no, she does like drinking. And we both like mezcal and we both like beer. So, but she's more of a wine girl.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be my turn. So, what's in your glass, Matt?
Hey, Duncan. So I've topped up and I've gone a little bit.
Hey, Duncan.
Hey, Duncan.
Hey, Duncan. Yeah.
Hey, I'm on to my next drink. So I have gone to America for a bottle.
I was going to go to America. You've gone to America.
This is a special limited special limited edition
made with rainfall water.
It's just so this one is this is Booker's Annie's Answer.
Oh man,
ridiculously high strength, not quite hazmat, but getting quite close to it. Yeah, close to it.
You can't beat Booker's. They're just the best.
Just really good, full flavored bourbon that halfway down the glass, I'm probably going to add a little bit of water to just to take the edge off it. But I do appreciate that you've given it to me absolutely full-bloodedly. Why not?
Yeah.
Nice. And Mike,
Booker's changed my world. I have obviously...
Hang on, no, you talk about that, how Booker's changed your world.
Booker's
people love that in the US of A. Go for it, yeah.
I think it was... I was gobsmacked at how much came from Jim Beam. When I was first getting into whiskey, and it's like, right, okay, so I like this Knob Creek. It's like, Jim Beam. Okay, yeah, but it's not Jim Beam. It's Jim Beam. And you go, Jim Beam Black. Obviously, Jim Beam. So many different incarnations. Booker's. Everything else. And yeah, it's such a wild little sort of concoction of different places. But I'm drinking Eagle Rare.
But you've both
from
gone
the
for
other
bourbon.
Distillery that has a million sub-brands.
Exactly. So
I literally was going to reach in the cupboard for a bourbon. And I decided to go the other way. I feel like I've missed out now.
I wax lyrical about Eagle Rare. It is still unbelievable that we can pick this up for 35 quid.
Agree.
It used to be only on Amazon. but it's now in supermarkets. It's in Tesco,
Waitrose, yeah.
Morrison's.
35 quid.
35
We get-
quid for
we
a
get good cheap-
10-year-old bourbon.
Good
Like,
cheap bourbon over here.
Americans would scratch your eyes out for this bottle and pay probably 50, 60 quid because they can't get it in the States.
Yeah.
We're casually picking it up in Tesco.
You're
It's
down
beautiful.
Tesco's in your
Casual.
trackie.
Mate, I'm in my slippers.
even
I'm in my
slippers.
I'm in my fat face
Yeah.
badger slippers. That's where I'm at.
100%.
Heated bumper pants in the winter.
Electrified bumper pants.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong with those?
Yeah.
His Apogee Ixie t-shirt on, and he's happy as day. Yeah.
But
So
I've got this, by the way, in my old glass that had the Amontillado sherry. So I've kind of gone my own, making a blend,
Just-
Eagle Rare
Zhuzhed it up
blend.
a little bit. I'm really glad now. So I recently opened up a bottle of Cadenhead's. I think it's 19 or 18-year-old Tennessee bourbon. It's my second bottle of that one. Taste notes on it incredible. I assume it's George Dickel, but maybe it's Jack Daniels.
I don't
It's
get the
probably
negativity
Dickel.
about Dickel.
It's probably Dickel. isn't it?
Everyone
It's
moans
probably
about
Dickel.
Dickel.
Nothing.
But
wrong.
here's the thing. It's incredible. It's so good that as soon as I had the first pour off the second bottle, not first,
In a day.
second bottle.
Problem.
No. As soon as I had the first pour of the second bottle, I immediately went online to check auctions to see if I can buy a third bottle. That's how good it
That's
is.
good
It's
whiskey.
outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's just got all the right kind of like sweet, syrupy notes that I want to get from that kind of bottle.
I got
and,
so much time for Dickel. I've had some
so good.
boutique. Have put some amazing Dickels out there.
But I haven't poured that now because I've been drinking Springbank hand fill.
Yeah.
I've then gone on to have Glen Scotia and SWS first fill burbs because I think that it's not a great progression for my palate to go from one to the other unless I'm going to have something to eat in between, which I'm not.
No.
So I'm bucking the trend of you two, and I've gone for some Scotia.
I
Petered Scotia.
just went for something in the ABV in the mid 60s because then I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's only touching 60. It's 59.6%.
Well, it's not
so
nothing.
low, so low.
This is where you want a Stag Junior just to like come and punch you square in the face.
It's one of those things that you don't really, when you start to really get into drinking, small batch and single cask whiskey, and you start drinking high ABVs, and you just sort of take it as read, and then you realize you talk to some like normal person, and they go, "How strong?" And you're like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's just like 62%." They're like, 62%,
It's-
and they're literally looking at you like you've got a real problem.
Yeah.
You're thinking, no, not at all. It's not like it's 68%. This is 62%. It's fine, right?
where I find myself or checking myself is check is when
check
even
to
like
check
you
it
say
out.
46% and you're going, yeah, it's only 46%, and they're like,
It's low, isn't
sorry,
it?
what? 46%.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. Oh,
It's one of those things, isn't it? I think that's I remind myself that our taste buds refresh every few weeks, so the damage that's done is,
whatever you burn out now is going to grow back quick.
it just grows back. Don't worry about it.
No, it's totally true. You have a couple of weeks off, and then you come back to it, and you pick something off your shelf at 60%, and I guarantee you'll be like, there'll be an intake of breath as you sort of go, oh, oh, it's strong.
Oh, I'm used to this. This is fine. It's fine. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So, Matt, we were really keen to hear what is your funniest or weirdest moment in whiskey?
I think it was probably the one I told you earlier about waking up with a naked man next to me, to be honest. So
Okay, fair enough.
I was going to say
so
in
then
between
let's-
your wife, but he wasn't in
that's
between.
fine.
He was on the outside.
That's fine. That's fine. We can nudge it on then. So, me and Mike, we're a bit obsessed about the idea of pairing curries with whiskies.
I love curry.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's probably another episode at some point. So when we do the curry or whiskey episode, we'll give you a shout. But I understand you did some cooking qualifications, or you were quite into cooking, and that's been a part of your flavour and palate journey. So it would be really nice. There's a lot of really obvious suggestions about what you can pair with whiskey or what kind of flavour things you like, but if you want to share anything about that, I think that would be, people would really appreciate to hear it. Like I just go, like, if I say I was having something really basic, like, you know, some kind of fresh pasta with some steak, maybe some chili spice in there, something like that. You know, I would probably pair that with something like an oogie, and it'd just be tremendous, right? But there's so many ways you can go with food. So what are your vibes on that kind of stuff?
Sure. So my vibe of food and whiskey is very different to my vibe food and wine. Food and wine can be a transcendent experience. I have had both the food and the wine change form, texture, flavor, and aroma because they were paired together. Hand on heart, I have never had that same experience with whiskey. So I'm generally not in the same way. I just don't, as much as I, you know, whiskey is my spirit. It always has been, it always will be. I just think in the sense of food pairings, wine is much cleverer, and I couldn't tell you why it does this. It's a worthy topic of conversation, and people disagree with me. Mark Vardson from Highland Park went on a big rant on my Facebook page about how wrong I was. That have you tried this Highland Park with this Highland Park inspired dish? And
this specific dish,
this specific thing, and I haven't.
Yeah, I'm gonna build a bridge to you there, Matt. And I've done, for example, Jason Atherton tasting menus, like 7-8 course, paired with a glass of wine for each thing, and that's probably one of the greatest meals I've had in my life. I think I was at the Maze quite a few years ago, but that's in Grosvenor Square in London. But the point is that I agree that it can be sort of next level. I enjoy pairing whiskey with food, but I think that wine probably does pair better with food. And so I'm gonna chuck you a bone there, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think there's a difference.
You can pair anything. You can pair beer with food if you want to.
I have done a beer with a 10-course meal, and I didn't think it went very well, to be honest.
10 course?
Oh, 10 tiny little things. It was ample.
Pints.
It was fine.
Kebab. First one was shish kebab. Second one, kofta kebab.
No fun.
Doner kebab. Yeah.
No head.
Bit of
4 prawn booners, 2 chicken booners, lamb booner.
I was once. You joke about that. If you ever have too much to drink, I remember once being with a friend at an Indian restaurant, and we'd sat down, and the waiter did that classic thing, and he went, "Anything else?" My friend literally kept ordering something else, and we were just sitting there. We weren't all sharing the bill. We were just sitting there going, "Dave, you can't eat that much. Yeah. It's not possible, right?"
I don't care. I don't know why he's
Dave, stop ordering food. It's just got silly now.
So I just think there's a difference between pairing something with food where you're expecting transposition and change, and pairing something with food where you might expect contrast and, you know, something that goes with it. I've absolutely had whiskies with seafood, and they've gone perfectly. It's been a good pairing.
Go on, such as?
So take something probably oily, coastal, and peaty. Add in some scallops, some langoustines, maybe some oysters. Can't go too far wrong with something like that. There was an event a couple of years ago where Beaumont were doing oyster luges, where you've got your oyster, pour the Beaumont over the top, down the hatch with both.
Oof.
Like that. It's
I've done that with rock oyster.
Really, exactly.
That does sound good, actually.
That was during lockdown, and it was a random tasting of various different UK and Ireland oysters and different whiskies to go with them. So good.
Equally, the one that impressed me the most was random. I was running the stand at the London Whiskey Show a few years ago, and some chap came up to me to chat about casks. Always good. I'll always have a chat about buying casks. I need casks to do things with. And he said, I'm also starting off a sideline doing flavored nuts. Okay. Flavored almonds. I said, okay.
Let me stop you. Duncan, you've met this man.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Was that Jeff?
Diego.
No, Diego.
Oh, Diego, yeah.
Diego.
Strong
Diego the
jawline.
Nutman.
Yeah.
Diego
strong
the
hairline,
Nutman.
strong jawline.
Handsome man.
Lovely guy. And his selection of almonds was amazing to be paired with whiskey. So
Matt, but what you're not saying is it is awkward when he's opening line is, "Do you want to see my nuts?" Isn't it?
No, that's how I met him. For me, I was straight.
That is
yeah.
That's
I was
awkward,
very
mate.
disappointed when he produced these almonds, but yeah.
So, go on. So he was talking about flavored nuts, and you
Yeah.
want to say how nuts paired with whiskey, I think.
Yeah, and his flavored almonds, and he had tailored the flavors to go with particular types of whiskies, and for me they worked really well. But I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit snobbish, but I still, whilst I have had plenty of things paired with whiskey which I think work, I have never had an experience which transcends either the food or the whiskey. I've only ever had experiences where you're like, yes, mate, this is very pleasant
This
indeed.
works.
I
It
like
works.
this. This works. And that's great.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I certainly think that whiskey needs to break down the barriers rather than just being, it's a whiskey food pairing. What have you got? Well, option A, it's the chocolate. Or option B, it's
Cheese.
the cheese. Exactly.
Yeah.
And there is more you can do with that. But at the same time, yeah.
I think whiskey. I'm going to put myself out there. I think whiskey. If you were doing the tasting in the sense that you really want to taste all of the complexity of the whiskey, if it is complex whiskey, then sure you shouldn't have it with spice. But I think whiskey actually pairs really well with spice. And if you are not too worried about if it's about combinations, then whiskey is the kind of drink that can stand up to a curry or a spicy dish and cut through it, which probably means you're going to serve it not just only with a whiskey, but maybe with a soda water or a ginger ale or something like that. So it's not going to be whiskey on its own; it's going to be whiskey and something.
You're gonna need, particularly if you like curry like I do, so you're going to be throwing some chili at it. You're going to need some
100%.
Going to need
fresh
some
chili.
just sustenance, just some refreshment going on whilst you're eating. So yeah, at the very least, a pint of water. Soda's a good shout, Duncan.
I'm 100% thinking we should do a naan or a chapati curry thing. We've already talked about this, Mike. I think I think Matt is a shout to get involved in this. We want to do a proper curry whiskey tasting thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where we try maybe like we all make different curry dishes, like and we then sort of pair them off with whiskies. And I think that would be something that really stands out really well because a lot of food is much more subtle.
It'd be like the Great British Showdown or whatever it is. They all design like a starter and a main and a dessert or whatever.
Right.
And a whiskey to go with the Indian starter, the Indian main and the Indian dessert.
But the thing is that
you don't want to be the dessert whiskey that goes with the weird mango parrots that you get.
Yeah, but whiskey has a strong profile and curry has a very strong profile.
The punky ice cream.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'll do a pairing.
What dessert menu do you want? We've got mango parrots, mate. I'm 40. Would you like one? Yes, I would.
Yes. Can I take the plastic parrot home with me? No.
Yeah. Hey, so we just wondered as well whether you. And we understand if you haven't, if you're above all this, but Mike and I both get involved in a bit of bottle chasing. It's just one of those things that happens, and maybe it's happened in your previous life before you became this, before you got properly involved in the industry. But have you ever had a bottle that you've really chased to get hold of? Have you ever got involved in that, either FOMO or maybe everyone else isn't into it, but you really want it anyway, and it's been difficult to get hold of? And you've had that sort of elation of getting hold of the bottle. Have you ever been involved in that? Because certainly with Bimba, some people are involved in that, right? If you flip it around for the customers of Bimba,
well, it's my job to make them do that. Is it not?
Yeah. You're the puppet master.
Yeah.
In some ways, I got to get them excited. I'm not trying to manipulate.
But you've never been the other side of that. You've never been really chasing.
No, I absolutely have. I'll open that discussion to say, I talk about this point a lot, and I would just say the sooner you can cast off the shackles of bottle chasing and FOMO, the moment the weight lifts from your shoulders and you enjoy whiskey like it's a brand new day. But
100%.
I've absolutely been there. Not for a number of years. There were bottles I chased. I've still got just above me. every single Faish Ardbeg committee release. It's probably the only thing that I
Oh, for real?
for real. It's probably
All of them.
all of them. It's probably
Wow.
the only thing that I wouldn't say I have FOMO for it, because if you want one, you just go on the website and get one. It's the only thing that I would say I collect.
I'm genuinely shocked you're still collecting those. Like, that is.
You just get to the point where, I mean, the price is creeping up, and it is getting to the point where the end is coming. If it keeps going this way, then I will.
What, just the committee releases, or the committee releases and the standard release second version of the committee release?
The committee releases. Sometimes,
okay.
sometimes I will buy a standard version because I always like an Ardbeg on the bar. Earlier today, I did buy
the home bar.
I did buy a home bar, a big one. I did buy Ardbeg Barbecue earlier today because I thought for 75 quid, which in the grand scheme of the current market, for some people
better
sounds
value.
a lot, but I thought it didn't sound horrific for a higher strength whiskey.
Agreed. 51-ish%, right? It was 51-ish%.
Yeah, so I thought that sounded all right. So that's the only thing that I would say I actively buy, and that's only because I always have, which is kind of a perverse thing, but I think that's how it all begins. I've got these, so I have to get the next one. But there were plenty of other series that I had where midway through, I'm like, well, I'm not getting this, or I can't get it, or it's on the secondary market, it's too expensive. Generally, the bottles that I did chase were based not on that, they were based on flavor. I ended up buying a 1972 38-year-old Bunnahabhain via Germany about 10 years ago.
Do you remember that feeling when you got it, though? Was it hard to get, or was it like easy to get?
It was hard to find. It wasn't hard to get. It was just like a massive internet search to find someone who had it. This was back.
So that moment when you found it was the exciting moment, not the moment to buy it. It was like when you found it, you were like, "Yes, I found this
for sale," and it's so much more money than I was hoping it would be. You know what? I tried it at Dornoch Castle Whiskey Bar, and I just thought it was absolutely amazing. Bunnahabhain. I have to have it, and yeah, I imported it from Germany back when such things didn't come with such disgusting fees attached to them, and it was all
you didn't
possible.
get charged. So, I literally remember post Brexit getting a 96 Ben Nevis from Denmark and getting sung for like 50 quid on top, and just being like.
So I think Duncan, was that the one? I forget the bottler.
It was for Dunphail.
So I think I took your recommendation that I saw online, and I was like, "That's."
Did you get stung for 50 quid or 40 quid?
So yeah, but the best part was that I took you're like, "Wow, I just got this thing, and there was no fee," so I bought it, and it arrived, and I'm like, "Fantastic, good pick, Duncan."
It's a decent bottle,
sherry Ben Nevis, 25-year-old, lovely.
It was good.
The invoice from, I think it was DHL, it arrived 4 months after.
Yeah, when you think you've got away with it, right? And then it just turns up just to take the edge off.
So there you go. Yeah. Anyone listening on this, if Duncan comes up on social media with a hot pick, just check
from
that
Europe.
out.
Hey, from Europe.
Check it out, because I took him on face value, ordered this Ben Nevis, which admittedly was a good price, and it's a nice whiskey.
Hey, do your own research, people.
Hey.
Don't believe everything people need. So I'll happily send you something to say sorry for that, Matt.
No, you're fine.
You definitely need to. I'm sorry.
Hey, it was still good. It was technically it was still good value overall.
That's what I'm going to say. Don't send me anything, because even with it wasn't the 40 quid.
Even with the fees, it was good value.
Even with the fees, it was still okay. It was just the
25-year-old 96. Refill sherry cask Ben Nevis. It was crazy.
And then the fees turned up months later. I was a bit narked with.
I've tried a lot of 96 Ben Nevis and mid-90s Ben Nevis, and it's one of the better ones. It's not the best. It's one of the better ones.
I want to say whoever liked that tweet or retweeted that tweet, you've got a case against Duncan. I will be on your side. I'll legally take it on.
Oh, will you?
And we'll arrange for you to get a dram. So
I don't know why they bother trying to help him. I don't make any money off it.
We can go back in time and see who's liked that tweet, and then we can arrange your compensation.
So yeah, there you go, Duncan. You were asking me for my funny whiskey story. There it is. The time when I followed your advice to buy a Ben
hilarious,
and then got absolutely pummeled with fees.
Stung for 40-50 quid.
That's my funny whiskey story.
You were going to go out for a nice lunch that day, and you just went, I'm not going to go to lunch today.
It's beans on toast for me now.
It wasn't even that, mate. It was the gas meter. The kids can't eat. There's no heating. It's all gone. Thanks to Duncan. Everything was down to the penny.
Turn off the lights. Turn off that TV. Turn it off.
It's not me. It's Duncan. Duncan's messed this up.
I didn't mess it. Look, listen. All I did was buy a bottle of whiskey. It's not my fault. So, well, I mean, thanks for sharing that. We just wondered whether you wanted to share. You got a choice now. You can share anything. So it turns out you're into pool and darts. I'm a big fan of playing pool, and I like watching the darts. I play the darts occasionally. But you could also talk a bit more about what you're doing at Dunphail. So it's up to you.
Darts or Dunphail?
Yeah, darts or Dunphail. It's up to you, fella. Have you been Ali Pally?
I have. Not for a few years. When we went, we were not on the boring tables, but there is talk of going, if we can get tickets, which is quite difficult to get table tickets.
I know someone that can get you tickets.
Let's take that offline as the language goes. Yes, please. I've not been since before COVID. But it was a great laugh, and there's a few of us want to go to that. Pool, I'm going to do this quickly and then talk about Dunphail. My brother-in-law and me are best friends, so you should be able to work out the relationship with my wife by that knowledge. And when we were about 18 to 20, we were down Riley's pool hall about 3 times a week and got pretty good at it.
But pool, not snooker, right? Pool, not snooker.
No, because every time, I think my highest break in snooker is about 33, which I thought was incredible.
So similar. And English pool or American pool? Just to clarify
nine ball pool. 9 ball.
9 ball pool.
9 ball pool.
Okay.
So I do have a table in my bar. It was like kind of the highlight of becoming an adult. We moved house, got this garage, and I said to my wife Claire, I said, right, we don't need a garage. And she said, what? And I'm like, garages are just where people store all their rubbish. I'm going to turn this into a bar, and there's enough space to put a pool table in there. And she said, okay, it's your money. And I said, oh, is the house not? The house is not paying for that. She said no. So anyway, I put my not life savings, but I bought a pool table, and it's one of those ones that's kind of like an adult version. So it's a beautiful wood pool table, but you can put tabletops on it and then sit around it like it's a dining room table.
That's a good idea.
It is a good idea, but basically I don't play pool on it. People just come round and dram on the pool table.
But occasionally, on special occasions, you play pool, right?
Occasionally, I take the effort of pulling all the tops off, and then anyway, right.
Is it fully level? Just out of interest.
Yeah, it was professionally leveled.
Right, of course it was. I love the two of you of like, of course it is. That was never.
I just want to check. I mean,
yeah, it was professionally leveled. Anyway, Dunphail work. So Dunphail is. You've
got 60 seconds, Matt.
You haven't. You've got as long as you want.
You take as long as you want.
I could probably do it in 60. Dunphail is going to be opening soon. We don't know exactly when because we're waiting for sign off, and sign off it's a movable feast really. You do all the stuff, and people think building a distillery, again, it's like independent bottling. They think it's easy. You just come up with what you want to do, and then you submit a plan, and the plan's signed off, and then you build it, and then you start distilling, and absolutely
Hollywood, baby. It's Hollywood.
None of it's like that. It's incredibly hard work. It's about sticking to your vision of what you want to do, but being adaptable, because quite often you'll be like, right, this is physically what you've got here and what you can do, and your original plan, that is not happening for whatever reason.
That's
money,
life, isn't it?
Space, equipment, site. So how are you going to stick to that original passion and vision and still do it? And that is, I would say, a daily challenge. Daily, not just monthly or daily. There's so many, and you're working. I had to do a course on industrial risk assessment and health and safety, which, coming from a boy that used to work in biomedical science in an office, I'm working.
Don't put that in your OnlyFans profile.
No, it's just bizarre. You're in a. but it could be.
It could be, yeah. Hey, with the right reflective gear.
Dude, I'm all about the niche within the niche. I'm all about it.
The niche.
But no, just
so you had to do this course.
On industrial risk assessment and health and safety. and the complexities of what you're dealing with when you've got this thing that you're making, frankly, something that is dangerous, highly flammable, and then you are bringing the public in to an area that is dangerous and hazardous, and you're trying to design it to make what
don't put that on the
I'd love to
come
say
visit
that
the distillery. It's
I'd love
highly
to say
dangerous.
there's a blog post there, but I need to get round to actually writing a blog post, which is eluding me at the minute.
You could have been spending that time doing that tonight. You've made a choice.
I could have. I'm spending it with you. What a waste. But anyway, yes. So it's opening. It is opening soon. The build is finished. Frankly, it's just literally.
It looks beautiful. Like,
thank you.
I think that's part of it. Like, I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen you recording videos outside it. And
yeah,
look, I look. So from a like a pleb punter point of view,
I wouldn't say you're a pleb. You're a cognizant whiskey drinker.
No, he's a pleb.
Okay, so
he is a pleb.
I'm a pleb. I drink a lot of whiskey, and I might be an educated person, but I am not. And I've read a few whiskey books, but I'm not an obsessed in all the detail stuff. And what I observe is that my takeaway from it is you're using traditional methods. It's a beautiful setting, and you're someone who's incredibly passionate about the detail.
And correct me, but you're using rainfall as your water source.
No. But from my perspective, I look at that and I say, that's going to be a winner.
Yep.
Well,
because
we
of those
hope
three
so.
things I just said. Well,
we hope
you also
so.
fell into your class selection. So you understand the nuances of being a wine cask pervert and the upside of. So the point is, I look at all those things together as my sort of stand back observation, and I think it's going to be a winner. Now I'm not invested in it or anything like that, but I look at it and say I will want to try it.
What excited me was that you alluded to we're not going to do young releases.
I don't think so. I mean, the whiskey will be released when it's ready, and that's such a haggard phrase, and a lot of people say it and don't actually really mean it. But for what we're doing and the investment we've put in, I don't just mean monetarily. I'll come to it in a minute. For what we're doing, we really do mean it, because we're taking really ridiculous, frankly, traditional processes that are breaking, laborious, take far longer than any other method to do. So in doing that, why would we then try to rush out the whiskey and get it to a point where people are like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, if you think about Dunphail, the journey is effectively, it's my boss's journey. It's Darius's journey from being an architect and an engineer to having this history in moonshine to starting Bimber to then thinking, right, what can't Bimber do? And the thing that Bimber cannot do, for various reasons, but mainly because it's an industrial state in London, is it cannot malt. It cannot malt. And malting is, I think it's the least understood aspect of whiskey making, because so many distilleries either don't do it, they just buy their malt from industrial maltings.
Lazy.
Or they just do 10%. And they don't really, if you ask even a whiskey geek, what are you doing with malting? I have not had a good explanation yet of actually what you are doing to transform that barley to access the sugars. So we're putting all this effort in to have built a malting facility where we're going to be malting 100% of our barley, all of it, all by hand, and then kilning all of it, all by hand, which is, you can just say
I'm really interested to ask, but I'm really interested to ask you, and this is a real question now, there's no wrong answer to this. But you obviously,
I bet there is.
No, Mike,
sounds loaded. Sounds loaded to me.
The moment you say that, I bet there is. Go on.
No, there isn't. It's a really sincere question. So you're so passionate about whiskey, which is why you transitioned career, right? And I think that's incredible. I think it's very admirable. How excited are you about the legacy aspect of this? If I was to switch around and put myself in your shoes, the opportunity to build something like that and have that legacy, you look at how fond so many people are around the world about certain distilleries. It's in their hearts. I just wanted to hear how excited you are about that, because I feel like from listening to you, and Matt, I've never met you, but I feel like from listening to you today, that's on your mind. Can you build that legacy? Can it be something where people in Hong Kong or Taiwan or like wherever it is, some Malaysian sports bar, they're going, I love drinking Dunphail. It's my favorite distillery, and here's why. Right? I feel like you're not just about you've got one eye. You're thinking of bigger things.
It's a super good question, and I'm going to answer it super honestly. And the answer is that I'm trying not to think about that.
Too much pressure.
No, it's not even the pressure. Of course, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's okay.
No, it's a thing.
Okay
No, it's okay,
legacy.
but I'll contextualize it. So I was at the distillery a couple of weeks ago. Just we're finalizing how the tours are going to work, and we're at that stage where it's nearly ready. And there was a guy up there cleaning the windows. Just a small little job, but there's loads of windows because the whole frontage of a distillery is open, so you can see. And he's not a whiskey person, but he's from around the parts, and so he knows a bit about whiskey. And he said, "Oh, what you do?" And I said, "I'm the director of whiskey creation." He said, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, effectively, I'm responsible for the casks, the maturation, the creation of all the eventual whiskies, the blending, all that." And he said, "Wow, how must it feel to be the guardian of a Speyside distillery of the future?" And it just sort of hit home, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And it was a massive thing, and it's the sort of thing that I hope you guys are still doing this podcast in 10 years' time, and it's the sort of thing that
no chance of that. Hey, give it a year.
Just when we're having a dram, basically,
we'll be on TV every week by then.
Easy. We'll be on TV.
Schofield's gone, mate. We're in.
Yeah. Hey,
Saturday night on
listen,
TV.
Holly called me up the other day, Matt. She said
there is a vacancy. There is a vacancy.
There's a gap.
It's the sort of question that I don't want to think about too much, because I want to think about the present and what I'm doing now. Because if you think about what you're doing now and doing all the right things now, I think that you are doing the best preparation to make sure that your legacy is there. But it's a sort of question that, ask me back in 10 years' time. But yeah, in my head, I don't know. I just think if you start thinking that way, thinking about those potentials, and I think you do see it in sports people, oh, they have so much potential to be the greatest of that. If you let that get to you, I think that's a really bad thing.
I don't think it's always about saying you want to be the greatest. I think it's just about wanting to find a place in people's hearts. That's what I'm saying, and I think that
that's what my OnlyFans is for.
It's funny about people's pants. That's different.
I say as well, if you think about the
old, wallets, even.
The old classic distilleries, we're talking hundreds of years ago, and they were running. there was none of this pressure. That they were not there to like make the best spirit. They were just doing what they were doing to make the right
do what they're doing,
thing.
Man.
And if you just follow that, I think.
And that's what I'm trying to do, guys. I mean, effectively, you could see it as, and there could be, self-imposed, there's loads of pressure. In 200 years' time, no one's going to remember me, or whatever. I'm literally just trying to think about what I'm doing along with the rest of the team to do the best job I can, so that when I've done that job, and in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or whenever, I can just say, you know what, I'm proud of that. And I think that's, regardless of any type of external validation or fondness, if I can say that I did the best that I could, and I'm proud of those results, that's a bloody good job. So I totally hear what you're saying, Duncan, and I do believe it is a thing. And I'm also aware of my own ego and keeping it well within check. There was a time 20 years ago, maybe, where it wasn't. Growing up and all that.
That's called being young.
Yes.
Being young, growing up, And it's just something that I just feel that if I do a good job and I'm mindful of my job and the people who support us and the people who are interested, and I don't just mean from the whiskey making side, I mean from the communication side and all that. If I just do a good job, that should come naturally alongside it, and I'm totally happy for that to happen. So Yeah, it's a thing,
Sure.
and I am absolutely trying for it not to be a thing for me. It's yeah, but when you mention it, it starts to like weigh on my head, like the window
Hey, look, we
cleaner.
got
Hey, it's a
we
thing, and I'm
we
like,
got to ask at
please don't
least.
make it
Yeah,
a
the
thing.
the window cleaners. He's put it out there in the first
No,
place.
he
or
really put
she.
it out there, and I'm like, yeah, I
He's put it out
suppose
there.
you're right. This is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Even yeah. I mean, so I think that's a beautiful question to end on today, and I think we want to say thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it. Thanks for being our first
guest.
proper guest. Yeah,
Absolutely,
it's
my pleasure, guys. My pleasure.
it was an honor for you to be on. No, it was an honor for us to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it, and you've also you've done a great job of adapting to our slightly wacky style of doing whiskey based content. So we really appreciate
70% weird, 30% whiskey.
100%.
You're absolutely welcome, guys. It's been refreshing. So cheers to you.
Cheers.
Well,
Thanks, man.
Thank you once again, everyone, for listening. Hope you enjoyed today, and we'll catch you on the next one.